Okay, good evening, everybody. It's good to be here again. This is the Warrior Tool Summit. We are talking about how you can author yourself into authority, wealth, and fame. And today we have one of our big guys in the house. He's someone that we respect, someone that has been showing us the way, someone who's legendary. So we have Coach Sam Obafemi with us today on this session, and we are going to be having conversations around authoring yourself into authority, wealth, and fame. I feel so excited to be here. You know, when it is when you are here, you are trying to interview your guy. It's an honor. you know,
The pep
I'm,
talk.
I'm feeling tense, but I'm managing my tension.
My brother, it's all good. Good to see
Try.
you, bro.
I'll try to
Compliment
manage
of the
my
season.
tension. Thank you so much, sir. So, good evening, everybody. If you are in Nigeria, good evening to you. If you are not in Nigeria, please, good morning or good afternoon or whichever as the case may be. So, without wasting so much time, because we know that our guy is always engaged with one thing or the other, we'll dive into it straight up. His name is Coach Sam Obafemi. So, we have talked about his bio, but I think there may be other things that he would like to add. So after the introduction, we now go straight into the conversation for today. Okay, sir. So I don't know. Maybe you have bagged more degrees. You know, you're always reading. You're always intimidating us from one degree to the other, from one certification to the other. Even young people like, oh, who are younger, we are not able to catch up. All right, sir. So maybe you can
Oh
now
my
tell us about
goodness.
all the degrees you have accumulated. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Wow, Emeka Nobi, such a legend. I love you so much. Thanks for all you do, bro. For Warital, for yourself. And thanks for leading the way when it comes to content curation and marketing and communication science. You're a textbook all by yourself. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be on this conference or summit. My name is Sam Obafemi. I'm called the Octopus. And I wish I wasn't proving Eneka Nobi's right. But yes, I love to read. I love to study. I am currently a doctoral candidate in business administration. And my current dissertation is in membership, how membership can be used for repeat purchase, maybe call it purchase loyalty. So yes, that's the latest I've been onto, aside of course running businesses and making as much money as possible. So thank you for having me on this summit. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. See, I'm right. You're always reading one thing or the other. Now it's memberships. We are learning. We are learning, sir. We are learning. Okay, sir. You have written so many books, both e-books and printed books.
Yeah.
So we want to give us a brief rundown of your journey so far writing books.
Mm.
A lot of people think that writing books is basically for those who are writers, who have the gene of writing inside of them. But people that we have interviewed who have been published under the Warrior brand, medical doctors, therapists, military men who are authoring books. It's not being proved that it's not just about the genes, but the fact
Yes.
that if you've got something inside of you, you can put them in form of book. So give us a rundown of your journey, sir.
Thank you.
Specific about the books you've written so that we can segue in that into the conversation.
Fantastic. So writing for me, just like you have put it, is not like it's not for some exclusive people. Writing for me really is expressing my message to the world. Is writing books for me is a vehicle to expand my ideology. Is a vehicle to evangelize, my philosophy. Is more like getting more people to know how I think, getting more people to know what I experience. And most of my books are personal, my personal stories, my wins, my failures, my journey, really, and then my most recent titles. I've written 12 books in terms of published books. I have some that I have just manuscript and I haven't put out there. In fact, right now I'm quite very careful not to write any book. I've had some titles I've wanted to put out, but I want to finish my doctoral program so I can do a more more comprehensive compendium of business conversations. So my last books, the last three titles are business related. And so my core philosophy about books is that if you have a message for the world, using books is a solid medium to distribute or disseminate your message. Everybody, whether we're conscious or not, has a message to deliver. And books are a medium to deliver that message.
It looks like Coach Sam has frozen at the point. I feel that his network is the cause of it. He will be back again. It looks like Coach Sam has. Okay, so I will get back to him. So this is a summit where we are connecting with authors that have been published under the Warrior brand, and they're sharing their their experiences regarding how they author books and how they can grow into great authority figures. I think he's back. Let me see. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, sir. Network, go ahead,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, my network. Sorry about that. So I was saying that I was drawing an analogy between my understanding of being an author or a writer and our faith. I believe that everybody has a faith they align with, they're adherent to, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, some say they're atheists, some Buddhist, Hinduist, etc. Ultimately, what makes people sign up to a particular faith is that they are buying into an ideology of that faith. That's the way I think of writers. Someone who chooses to write a book is someone that has an idea, a message, and wants to amplify the message. A writer is buying people into a philosophy. So everybody that reads your book is eating or biting into your philosophy. You have become a faith carrier or a faith progenitor. That's basically the way I see writing. So everybody can be a writer, everybody can be an author, provided you have a message you believe in and you want somebody else to know that message. Automatically, you can use writing as a vehicle. So that's my take on being an author or a writer.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you have written books with great titles, but what do I know? I mean, those titles are very awesome. You know, I still have I have my own copy of my shelf, my bookshelf, and all other writings, other titles that you have written. Even
Yes.
when you wrote upon the BP Niger FA, you know,
Yes.
based on logistics.
Based on
You know, I was like,
logistics.
this is amazing. Currently I'm writing an ebook called Shege Banza. I'm just writing on this thing that is Shege. Shege. I mean, life has seen me Shege. You get what I mean? Although some people tell me that in Hausa it's a very it's a it's an offensive word, but I
Yes.
still tell them that they understand where I'm coming from, but they say in
Yeah.
Hausa language it's offensive, but then they understand where I'm coming from because the book has a
Yes.
subtitle, you know. And I'm even looking at using the graphics that is being done by by Tinubu. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The one of Papa Blue and all that to be able to come up with a title that can fit into the spur of the moment. Because I feel that even the ebook, if I write it with that particular title and I write upon that at the moment, when it passes away, I can still change the name of title of the book and still relaunch it back, it's the same content and put it back. So tell us, some individuals will ask, why do you do that? I mean, I think I've asked you this question some time ago, but why do you write upon these kinds of sensations to be able
Mm.
to put out a book in the market?
Yes. So in theology, there's a term called audience psychology. Audience psychology is for a preacher using a colloquial term or using a familiar term that can draw the audience to you, that can draw the attention of the audience to you. And that's basically what some of us use in our books as titles. We ride on trends to draw attention of the audience to our work, our intellectual work. And so that's basically the science behind it. If you're a good marketer, especially a writer who understands how to leverage the market, trend writing or trend leveraging is something you should not joke with. And I totally support, using the Baba Blue and the Emilio Cons and all that. They are very, very strategic, for market access. Because basically, even on the internet, when you study hashtags and trending hashtags, that's basically the science. You want to enter the mainstream of the conversation with very minimal effort, if possible, or with some aided effort of marketing terms and lingua, and the jang, the words that are being used in the stratosphere. So it's a very brilliant strategy in marketing. I think the point here is many people just write books without thinking of the selling of the book. Many people write books without thinking of the science of getting it in as many hands as possible, on as many lips as possible, and on as many minds as possible. They just write book to say, I'm an author. That is a very small fraction of the process or the value chain in writing a book. So a title can be a big game changer for an author if that person is smart enough to leverage, ongoing trends. And I like how you said you can easily change the title in future and use the same content. It's just brilliant. You can choose to, immortalize a slang, or you create a dynamic slang for your book, and it just keeps evolving. Very brilliant move. Well, of course, what do I expect from you, being the king of marketing communication himself? So that's my case.
Thank you so much for answering that particular question. Okay, sir. You have. I want. We want to hear your take. So many individuals say when you author a book, you become an authority figure. People look up to you as someone who is an authority. I had a conversation with um, Dr. Grace on this. On this, she's into people who have recovered from strokes, and then she said something very instructive. She said that by writing her book, even her fellow doctors now take the book and they give to either patients or other doctors,
Mm.
who are also taking care of patients who are recovering from stroke, and it has
Yes.
been like a manual for them. So
Yes.
now within her area of her space where she's working, people look at her as an authority. Other doctors are walking up to her and asking her how she's doing, all the things she's doing, even though they are both in the same field. And I love that fact. So, what's your take, your perspectives on how people can author themselves into authority, wealth, and fame through their books?
Okay. I think that it's given that when you write a book, to some extent, your story is in your book. To some extent, it's also given that to a large extent, you have thought through the content, and the process of writing has helped you become something as a reference, as just by being an author. However, there's a little caveat. The caveat is that we must also begin to sensitize authors to be particular about some level of research, because the real thing about writing a book should be authenticity. If your content as an author is authentic, then we can comfortably say in the subject matter area where you have written, you're an authority, whatever the level and stature and grading, we can say you're an authority. Research is very important. Verifying the information we put out, especially with respect to some level of data, is very important. And to a large extent, really authenticity, which is where your personal story comes in. Whatever dimension you look at it, if you can describe how that dimension you are writing has been proven by your own experience, whether positively or negatively. And negatively here would mean you failed at this thing and you are writing that this was how it happened, or you succeeded at this thing and you're writing that this was how you achieved it. Some level of authenticity, a high level of authenticity, is very good in writing books, so that you can claim authority in the subject area that you have written. Because book writing is so vast, the scope is very wide. We cannot call everybody an authority just by writing a book. When somebody writes a technical book, like you talked about the doctor, you have farmers, you have military men, you have different people that write based on their skill areas or the technicalities of the areas they have worked. That is a very professional area. We can say you're an authority. When you're writing around a particular subject matter or you're solving a particular problem, we can say you're an authority in that area. But again, with all due respect, we've also seen authors who just write motivational stuff, and we cannot necessarily say they're an authority because it sounds like echoing. You are just amplifying someone else's content. So we need to also be very careful around the term authority when it comes to being authors. It is a different thing when you have gone through an experience and then you come out to say, based on my experiences, based on my exposures, based on my contacts, based on the things that have happened, that I have observed, these are lessons I have learned. Then you begin to take us into those specific lessons and share either a borrowed, a mirrored, or a personal experience that amplifies your name as an authority in that subject area, which can also include motivation. So yes, I agree that writing a book can make you an authority. I will say can make you an authority. I will not say it makes you an authority. I think we need to look at that carefully so that we can help authors develop some level of grit, some level of diligence, and some level of discipline. Being an author now is becoming very popular, especially because of the international access. Authors have a higher reputation abroad. And so being an author is an attractive title. But we also, as publishers, as stakeholders in the space, as people who also participate in that space, we must be able to make sure people do what the bare minimum or the barest minimum so that they can put together something that can make them claim to be authorities in that area. So that's my take on that.
As usual, fantastic, intelligent perspective and take on this. So we are looking at for this summit, we are looking at wealth, sorry, authority, wealth, and fame. Three key things there, concepts: authority, wealth, and fame. From your experience, would you rather say I know that you are quite famous, you're quite famous, and you are wealthy, you're increasing your level of wealth. But I see some individuals who want to author books, but they don't want to be famous. What are your takes? You have talked about authority, wealth, and fame. These are the two concepts. Can a book make you wealthy? Because I still see young individuals or individuals, you tell them, okay, you are knowledgeable enough, you're great at what you do. Why don't you think about packaging these things into a book that people can buy? I mean, you spread yourself out from one to many individuals. They are still at the point where they are so excited that people are coming into their inbox, they're spending time talking and talking and talking. And I know that usually at those beginning points, they enjoy it. But after a while,
Yeah,
I mean,
you get
the
burnt out.
overwhelm begins to set it. And nobody will tell you to to rewire your brain at that point. So, but then, what are your takes, sir? Wealth, fame through books.
So let's be honest, books make you famous, whether you choose it or not, unless you put all the books in your house and nobody takes it. Because, of course, books will go where you may never go to. Your books will go to places and locations and parlors, offices where you may never, ever, ever, ever expect. So, yes, books can make you famous, especially when you find a way to make sure those books are in the right hands, in the right environment, with the right people. You are putting your book ahead of you. It will make you famous. The aspect of making you wealthy is a different ball game. Like my friend Steve Harris would say, that it is not what you don't have that is your problem. It's what you have that you don't know how to use that may be your problem. And then there's also that philosophy that it's still the same Steve Harris that will say the business of your talent. Being an author should make you wealthy on a good day. On a good day, but it is not automatic. The fame part is seemingly automatic, because the more your books go out there, the more people will know you. But the wealth part is a completely different operating system. There has to be a machinery to make that happen. And the machinery here has to be, for everyone coming to you, you have to learn how to make them part with something, which is money. You have to think of this variety of services that can surround your book, the variety of opportunities that can surround your book, the variety of invitations that can surround your book, the variety of products that your book can evoke. There are so many ways, but you have to learn it. You must move from being shy, excited. I like the way Nobis put it, because yes, I remember my first ever book. My first book was in 2009. When I wrote that book in 2009, Vision Clarified, I was feeling like I was the president of America, because everywhere I went, I was touting that I was an author, and you could tell that people were like, wow, you have a book. Wow, you have a book. There's just that feeling of, wow, me self, I get book. People respect me now. I know I have a book to my name. But after writing 12 books to date, I can tell you categorically that that feeling is a good feeling, but it's not enough. The wealth part is a science on its own. You have to learn the science and the art. You have to most likely learn from a coach, most likely learn from another person that is selling their books well, most likely observe the patterns of people that are doing well with what they do around their books. Your book is just a gateway. It is not the only product. Your book is supposed to be an entry point. Your book should birth workshops, seminars, workbooks, coaching programs, speaking engagements, work tours, podcasts. So many things can revolve around your book. But that is a science to learn. It's not something that comes automatically. So that is my answer to that question. Fame can almost be automatic, but wealth, that one, you have to learn it. It doesn't come automatically like that. That's why many people have published books and they just ended up dashing all the books out. Like, you know what, this thing is not working. Let me just dash everybody, because the book is gathering moss and dust and ants in the house. So those are ways to look at it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The essence of this summit basically is to have conversations around this authority, wealth, and fame with regards to authoring books and inspiring people who are listening to us, both people who have written books and those who are aspiring to write books, to begin to think as we begin to go into 2023. So, but what's your take? There are a lot of individuals who are very, very knowledgeable, who are packed full with experiences, but they still shy away from putting these things into printed format. I
Mm,
don't know if they prefer to do videos, or maybe the very thought about putting words down is very hectic for them.
mm,
But in the light of all these things, what can your take be for these individuals, and what the advantages are for them if they
mm,
fully decide to be on this journey like we are doing?
mm, mm, mm. Thank you. Experience. I agree with this, that you should put your content in a book. I totally agree with Emeka Nobis. If there's anything you really would like to leave behind as a legacy, should be books. The thing about social media platforms, whether you call it YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, these are moving platforms. They're always moving. In this my doctoral program, just researching literature about my topic, I'm digging into content that have been written 1976, 1972. I'm like, wow. Ordinarily you would have thought membership and communities are like the buzz of our generation. It is not. I'm just finding that this thing has been an ongoing narrative from way back. If those guys did not write books or literature, I will not find them. How many YouTube videos do you want to search to find a topic like that. So books are such an iconic platform, a vehicle to immortalize your name. That is my take. Let's even assume you are so modest, you don't want money, you don't want fame. I believe you want impact. You want to be able to say, somebody picked my book and was impacted by my content. That is enough reason to write a book. And then for some of us who God has helped to become aware of the fact that we need to make as much wealth for our families to be comfortable, then that's another level to the reason why you should write a book. Now, I know that writing a book is a lot of work. Let's not kid you. It can be tedious, it can be tough, it can be difficult, especially for those who are not aware. Then we are living in an age that has been made easier. There are tools, smart tools. First and foremost, you don't really need to write a book by yourself. You don't have to. What matters is that you're interested in being an author. You have a topic or a message, and then leave the instrumentation of Warritor to decide how to get your book out of your head into literal form. That does not have to be your work. In fact, I'm co-authoring a book with Fola right now. Despite how tedious it is for me to sit down and put together my thoughts, we are getting a hang. So they schedule some Zoom meetings, we interview, and then I say what I answer questions, they go and transcribe it, and boom, content is out. Sometimes they send some questions. There are still two questions I'm yet to even respond to. And I just record a voice note of my responses, and boom, they transcribe it, content is out. So you really don't have to be overwhelmed. Like, how do I even start? Where do I start from? That question has been answered since 1900. It's not a problem again. But I think what you need to do is ask yourself, what is big enough to stop me from leaving a legacy? What is so important than leaving a legacy of the message I have to give to the world? What if my message is the unlocking key for someone that will be born 25 years from now? That just can be the answer to somebody's dilemma in the next decade. So I inspire, I'm part of the people like Emeka who is motivating you to put your thoughts down and become an author. Even if it is for the impact alone, it is worth it. But when you take it to the next level of becoming wealthy through the instrumentation of being an author, I mean, it's a feeling that you will never regret. So I hope that you take this challenge and dive in.
Okay, so my final question will be this, before you give us your takes. You said something about other things that can be around people's books. People don't really think about that. Like, for example, my book, Your Book Will Sell, it's a consulting tool for me. So individuals who come to me and, oh, I want to be able to write a book, oh, but I want it to sell very well and all that. The things that I still share with them are from the contents of the book. Even though I'm writing the book now to make it better based on
Correct.
new things I've learned over the past 2 3 years right now. But people may not understand that, converting your book into a business to where it's not just about the money but other things that surround them. Can you
Yes.
throw more light on that, for those of us who are on this live stream and those who are going to
Fantastic.
watch, so that they tend to understand what it means about your book not just being for exchanging of money alone,
Yes.
but all the
Yes.
things surrounding the book.
Fantastic. There's something I normally tell my godmother. I'll say, I can't understand how people are around some people and are not learning from those people. Every post Emeka Nobis writes, I read it. Every single post. There's just something about your post. So I read the content, but I go deeper than the content. I'm looking at the choice of words. I'm looking at the punch. I'm looking at the hook. I'm looking at the strategies. I'm looking at the impact. I'm looking at the responses, the engagement. I'm like, I'm constantly studying your content religiously. That is how I learn. I learn by observing people who are doing better in an area that I want to do better. And I think that that's the first place I want to start. If you want to do well with your book, identify people who are doing exceptionally well at managing or selling their books and just emulate what they do. I mean, like I've established, writing your book is just one thing of many things. Putting your book out there, buy my book is one thing. There are so many ways. One, There are thematic areas around a book. What's a thematic area? A thematic area is a sub area of life that people need help. So let's assume that your book was on, let's say, cryptocurrency. In that same cryptocurrency book, there is most likely financial intelligence as a skill in that book. There's most likely marketing as a skill in that book. There's most likely money management as a skill in that book. There's most likely tech security or hack or security hacks or tech hacking as a skill in that book. There are several skills in one book. When you break down your book into areas of skills, that already forms a series of workshops. That forms a series of seminars. That forms a series of hangouts. That forms a series of book reading. That forms a series of so many angles to that. That is a podcast series by itself. Anything to amplify the purpose of your book and the need it is meeting. What are the areas this book is satisfying? Because if you just have a title of the book, my book, for instance, based on logistics, from the surface level, it says how you can build a business in Nigeria successfully. That's just one title. But when you go into the book, there are so many dimensions. There is sales, there is customer fulfillment, there is marketing, there is operations and processes, there is staffing. So I can pick each of these contents and make them a series on their own to amplify the message from the book. That way, somebody who did not ordinarily see the purpose of the reason to buy the book can see another angle to that book. That's one angle. Another angle to book writing is that you can now co-host sessions. If part of the book is, say, customer fulfillment, you can co-host a customer service expert, a globally reputed customer service chief. Host that person to your platform, address a particular issue in customer service, and use that book as a driver for the conversation. You don't lose. You have just amplified the message of your book. So we've talked about podcasts, workshops, seminars, webinars, summits, etc. Those are just components you can use to totally get your book out there. And then you can have workbooks. You can have a workbook to say, if you're a client and you're buying my book, I'm going to design a workbook for you, and I can consult for your company in the implementation of this book. So you see that it has become a corporate material for corporate clients. That is another opportunity. So there are so many ways. The goal of this conversation is that your book is just one thing of many other things that can happen from that book. And I hope your mind is open to that.
Could Sam, with the finished work, based on what you've even said now, some ideas have jumped into my head right now as you are speaking. Part of, if I remember what I'm doing now currently, part of writing the book, Your Book Will Sell, part of also getting successful at marketing books is to build your audience. And if if I had started, if I knew what I know now many years ago, I don't think I would have still been at 7,000 followers. But I'm not feeling guilty about it because we keep learning on a daily basis. So I've been to two events and people asked me, Emeka, I mean, I was the last one what happened in SM Fest in Owerri, where I was invited to sit on a panel. Coach Sam, listen to this. I was paid. They paid for my to drive me from Port Harcourt to Owerri and back. That's about 50K to do that. They put me in Protea Hotel. They paid me also and the number of minutes that we sat on that panel was not up to 30 minutes, sir. The number of minutes that I spoke,
Wow.
I don't think it was up to 10 minutes. But guess the question. Two questions were thrown at me. Number one was, how was I able to build my audience? And when I started speaking, I could see the audience, people were paying attention and listening. And when I was done, I said to myself, I think this is a topic that I should write about or I should talk about. So I said, before I release the book, let me do a series of videos. I don't know if you've seen my videos
Correct.
recently. I hired a
Yes,
videographer.
I
You
saw
get what
those videos like, wow, no bees.
I hired a videographer and I went to an apartment and I did 30 videos, sir. Each of those
Oh
videos,
my
Udemy,
goodness.
Udemy style. Udemy style, 2 minutes, 3 minutes each, 2 minutes, 3 minutes each. The maximum of those videos are 4 minutes, but each of them 1 minute, 30 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 minutes, just like that, 3 minutes like that.
Wow.
Good Sam, I started selling those videos. The videos are not out, but I started my marketing and I used a wait list. Good Sam,
Wow.
I have done close to 600 sales without the video coming out. The video will be out on the 25th of December. Now,
Oh
this
my
afternoon,
goodness.
I was here. Part of how I wanted to sell sell the videos was to do 2 ebooks and give away for free. But I said no. I called Fola and I'm like, I'm not doing it again this December. I'm going to do it in January because I want to increase the price of the videos, the video training, and then I will drive sales more by saying if you buy now, by January 31st, you're going to get 3 ebooks from me. And part of the 3 ebooks is how to write content that people want to read and to buy from you. So you see, there are so many
Wow.
dimensions to these things.
Wow.
And trust me, those
Wow.
videos also, I'm going to put them in form of written book, expand what is in the video, put in more stories because in the video I didn't really put more stories, just punchy stuff like
Yes.
that. And then
Yes.
it will become
Yes.
a book that people will buy in 2023. So as you are
Those
saying this,
videos are so captivating. Oh my God.
that's so, I mean, if you see the crispiness of the video, I mean, when I saw I've
Those
been watching the
videos are
video today,
captivating.
and I'm like, let me be this in the video. You know what I mean? So
I
I
love
spent,
those videos.
I
Wow.
spent, but I have recovered my expenditure. I mean, I've recovered my expenditure twice, and now
Wow.
I'm just cruising with my sales. That's the thing.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
thinking also somebody like you could Sam. I mean, this is something I think because a lot of people want to hear from you. People want to listen to you. So instead of the trainings and all those things you've done, if you sit down in one place, like in your house, and they record you, I mean, there'll be tons of video training content. People just listen to you. Just could Sam, just 10 videos, 20 videos of them listening to you. Even this conversation we're having already now. Do you know how many people are blessed? Will be blessed by what you're saying. So when you have those in a series, people will just pay. They don't need to be very expensive. It's just about the masses and a lot of people who are buying. So
Yes.
there are a lot of dimensions to these things. When you look at chapters, what can come from the chapters and all that. Thank you so much, Chris Sam. Your final words as we begin to wrap this session. Give us an insight into how your life has been authoring books. I mean, just your final words and your piece of advice to those who are watching us now
Wow.
and grow themselves into because you're a reader. Mere listening to you, people will know that you read because your brain is always somebody saying final words. Okay? Because Sam has something he wants to go and do. I promised him 45 minutes.
Honestly, I've learned from this session. I've learned
DK
from
is
this
saying
conversation
final words.
myself. I've learned from this conversation myself. I feel quite inspired. Like I was saying, your videos are very captivating, and just you telling me that is something I'm going to take away myself and see how I can build on that. I know that time is such a crazy currency for me, and I'm going to find a way to inject that. My final words really is that we really never arrive. We never arrive. We're always evolving. We're always learning. We never really get to that pinnacle like that. There's no pinnacle for a person. You get to a point, you realize that you get another level where you never reach. So we never really arrive. We are just a journey. We're a journey, we're a sum total of a journey. And I want to encourage everyone where you are may not look like what you want, but you are a journey all by yourself. You're a journey all by yourself. And I want you to please understand that. So, this is a very good opportunity. Thanks to Warital for planning this. Thanks to Emeka Nobis for always showing up. I also want to say that you cannot be in this community of Nobis and Warital and still be thinking about not being a profitable author. It is a complete travesty. It is not acceptable. You need to get yourself out of your own way and start doing something for your future. Do something for the lives that are coming. Build a legacy. Leave an imprint in the sands of time. Most times it's not about you. I've always said, for me, for instance, I'm planning to go back into research and entrepreneurial academics. I want to help businesses with research and with profound studies into the areas of their business. I'm already thinking of the next 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades from the work I'm doing right now. There's so much to do. You can't be complacent. You can't feel that you are doing too much. You cannot do too much. When you see people that are doing so many things, you don't have two heads. You just want to build capacity to do many things. Build the capacity to do many things. You cannot be overwhelmed. When you are overwhelmed, the Bible says, if you are overwhelmed in the days of adversity, your strength is small. What does that say? It means that the more your strength, the likelihood you can never be overwhelmed. So build strength. He says, he was talking in Elijah, he was in the book of Kings, he was saying, we need to eat now because the journey is far. This is when to build capacity. Build capacity. Keep learning. And I mean strategic learning. I'm not just talking of jumping on any workshop, jumping on any seminar. No. Strategic learning. Be learning for the future. Learn and connect it to a direction you are going. You are learning for the purpose of connecting to something in the next 10 years or 20 years or 25 years. Learn strategically. Learn with hunger. Be committed to your growth. Become a person of substance and value. Don't just say, I want to write a book and just write anyhow book. No. Write a book that when somebody reads the book, they'll be looking for who be the person who write this thing. Capacity, content, ingenuity, authenticity. These are things that should be your bosom mate every single time. I really respect Emeka Nobis for what he does. I wish I have Emeka's energy. I wish I have Emeka's depth. He's such a deep guy, and I really love him for what he does. I admire what Fola. Of course, everybody knows Fola is my number one love, and I like what we do in Warrior. I just want to tell everybody, you cannot be connected to this tribe and be behind. We don't do that. We are excellent-minded. We are always blazing the trail. We're always blazing the trail. So thank you for having me on this summit. I really don't take it for granted at all, and I'm very grateful. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much, Kusam. Thank you. Sorry for having woken you up from sleep, and you
What an
came
issue.
with you came as usual with your wisdom to.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
my
thank you
brother.
so much. I can see DK. DK is saying, "Make I get energy." I did try my best. Now I did try. So some people are saying, dropping comments. DK is saying, Warrital was the best decision I made. Brenda Unu is saying cannot be connected to Warrior Town, be behind. That's correct.
Yes.
DK is saying, Coach Sam, thank you. Thank you very much, Coach Sam. Dela Kingdele is saying, God bless Warrior Town. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody
sir.
who has tuned in. Please do share this live stream. People need to listen to this kind of conversations. I've had great conversations so far, right? With Brenda, with DK, Grace Oni is here already. Amazing. Okay, Grace here. That's the medical doctor I was telling you about. She's already here on this live stream watching. So thank you so much, everyone. Tomorrow is another time. We are going to be doing this conversation up until the 28th. It's only on Christmas Day that I don't have a resting time. So up on the 28th, 6 p.m. by this time. Brenda, the replay is always there now on our live stream. On my timeline, on Warrior timeline, is always there. You can always rewatch. I'm already thinking in my head what we are going to do with all the videos we've done. But then an idea will form as we move ahead. So thank you so much, Coach Sam, for honoring us with your presence and with your wisdom. Thanks so much. My regards to everyone over there in your house and in your home.
God
Yeah.
bless you.
God bless everyone. So
Thank
see
you,
you
bro.
guys again tomorrow, same time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.